Okay, so last night was the launch, I think it must have happened at the same time as in America. It's the launch of Who is America, Sacha Baron Cohen's new characters released on the world after many, many years since Ali G and Borat and Bruno. It's a Showtime, series network Showtime show, and they've been trailing it like mad on YouTube. And apparently it's the most sort of shrouded in secrecy TV series they've had in America for quite a while. So it was a big deal that was coming out. And you know, you immediately guess from the title, Who is America? It's going to try and put its finger on the pulse of what's making contemporary America tick. In a Trumpian 2018. Really nice montage at the beginning, which ends with Trump looking a little bit unhinged. Let's put it that way, politely. You're not necessarily a huge Sacha Baron Cohen fan. You said as you lay there, you said, I'm not looking forward to this.
No, I have a real love-hate relationship with him.
Oh, right, okay. Why is that?
Well, because I either love him or hate him. Some of his characters I think are pure genius, and others I think he goes too far. So, what, in the past? Oh, I loved Ali G.
Yeah, I
thought Ali G was utterly brilliant because, you know, remember that Nigel Benn interview? I mean, it's so funny. And the Victoria and David...
Nigel Benn?
Not Nigel Benn, sorry. Tony Benn.
Oh, Tony Benn, yeah.
Tony Benn and the David and Victoria Beckham one.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I just thought he was genius.
But what I liked about that character was that he was playing, you know, it was from a position of youth, knocking youth, but at the same time using that as an excuse to be able to really have a go at anyone.
Well, the first shot in this new series, I was like, blimey, nobody's going to believe him. He looked so
I know what you mean.
up.
I know what you mean. Maddie didn't agree. She thought he looked really convincing. But I thought the first time we saw his first character, I thought, that's ridiculous.
He looked like Panto.
Well, he looked ridiculous. He just didn't look believable. And yet there was Bernie Sanders, the Democrat candidate, sitting opposite him, taking him. I love Bernie Sanders.
Oh, I love Bernie.
I thought that first scene, and I thought the way Bernie dealt with him was very funny. I mean, what was the thing?
You know what the problem with me was, though? Because I thought, oh, this isn't a usual Ali G one, because Bernie must know that he's just a fake person because he looked so like Panto.
Yeah.
So I didn't really get into it because I kept thinking, well, it's not funny if Bernie knows that he's a... but then it was only towards the end I thought, oh my God, he really does think that he's this disabled character.
I don't think I'll ever recover from his idea of solving world, the economic sort of mismatch of the wealthy versus the poor by putting the 99% in the 1%.
Yeah, it was very funny.
That will
Bernie
sort
said,
it. Bernie's like,
I don't know why you're talking.
And he gets the maths graph out. It's very, very funny.
It's
only
very
5 minutes. Tony Benn. Oh, Tony Benn. Right.
Yeah, it was very like the Tony Benn interview. There was echoes of that, wasn't there?
Yeah. So that was very good. And at the end it was nice because Bernie Sanders kind of said, what the hell are you talking... Didn't he say, what the hell are you talking about?
Because I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Next up is a couple of...
Who I thought couldn't be real. I didn't think people were like that.
Quite remarkable in this sort of...
Two Republican, very extreme, pretty privileged.
And yet he was incredibly camp.
In this unbelievably palatial home.
Well, it was sort of like a plantation.
It looked like a plantation home, that's right. And he was as camp as
Christmas. I mean, I thought he couldn't have been more camp. And what was so funny was they were clearly robust Republicans. I mean,
well, they said very, very
flag worshipping, proud Americans, Trumpians, self-declared. And then they had the character from Sacha Baron Cohen was a sort of balding but hippie, chilled out.
His costume was so awful.
Again, he didn't look believable.
No, so this was a real problem for me through the episode because I kept thinking, well, I can't get into this because nobody could believe he's real. Oh, but they did. And then I was a bit... You see, the thing is, that terribly British side of me gets a bit embarrassed.
Yeah, you get a bit protective, don't you?
I get a bit embarrassed because he was talking about menstrual blood and I almost couldn't watch it. But the character of the Republican husband, when he was answering him, I mean, I just couldn't. No. And of course, the last question.
Well, the last question at the end of the show, what was it?
Don't tell them.
Oh, you have to watch it for the end because his sum up.
So funny.
The guy's sum up, the Republican sum up, but his wife's facial expression is worth freeze framing and watching again and again. This is at the end credits. But didn't you just love the way every time Sacha Baron Cohen's character said something about menstruating on the American flag? And then it would go to the guy who would be horrified, and then the woman observing some kind of etiquette would go, "No, it's fine.
Yeah, appreciate other people's opinions."
And she'd say things like, response, like, what's your response? It was just so funny. And yet perverse.
But I wasn't laughing. I didn't laugh once. I was just sitting there watching go, this is
cringe.
So funny, but inside I was dying. I was dying. It was so embarrassing.
And then he started to talk about, he asked, do you remember he was talking about his wife having an extramarital affair with a dolphin?
I know.
And then they said,
a sea mammal.
But then the guy said, how does one compete with a sea mammal?
Yeah.
I mean, they were sort of engaging with him on his own terms. Anyway, that for me was the humour. I love watching this stuff. Nadia gets the real ick, and then she ends up sort of feeling, do you feel protective of the contributors? Do you feel?
It's really weird what happens to me.
Yeah, you almost
I
noticed you almost wanted to run from the room. So I'd be interested to know what you think. Did you feel the same?
And Mark was saying, you've got to watch it.
No,
Don't think you can walk away from this because we've got to review it.
Yeah,
I was like this.
Yeah, she couldn't bear it. But then we had the prisoner artist. How would you describe his art?
Now you see, right, okay, the prisoner artist. So this character has come out of a 20-year sentence. He spent a lot of time in isolation. He's in this very posh art gallery.
Los Angeles
with the most extraordinary curator. Long, leggy blonde, incredibly eloquent, wasn't she? She was verbose in her articulacy and eloquence. Well, not only about art, but about life and everything. And he explains to her that he uses poo, and I don't want to say the other word because
bodily excretion.
Bodily excretions, some very particular to men, to create his art. And she buys into all of this. And in fact, he goes off to the toilet at one point, creates a piece of art, gives it to her. It's a picture of her. And she waxes lyrical about this piece of art. She was an extraordinary woman. Well, then he asks her for a piece of her pubic hair and she goes off and cuts it and gives him some.
To put into a piece of his installation. I mean, if ever there was a better send-up of the art world needed, there hasn't been.
Because in the end, she said he was a genius. But you see, through it, I wasn't totally sure that she hadn't caught on and she was playing him at his own game. I thought she had
caught on. I felt that. What did you think? Watch it and tell us. I thought she had caught on.
I thought she was playing him at his own game.
And I thought she did a very good job.
She was a very impressive woman.
She saw that backhand coming her way and she forehanded it back in.
Again, because his costume was awful. He looked like he'd come from...
But I tell you what, there was an element of that I never felt in the early Sacha Baron Cohen. I could almost feel his breathless relief that they were buying into whatever it was he was doing. Whereas in the past, I felt he would take things to the next level. And I thought the most successful...
He didn't have great ownership.
He didn't have great ownership of it. It was almost tentative and it was like a hope and a hope.
He didn't believe in his costume.
No, exactly. And then the last one...
Oh my God, the walk. The walk of this character.
The NRA, National Rifles Association, Israeli representative, who is a sort of anti-terrorist kind of... But again, he looked ridiculous.
It was ridiculous.
I mean, he looked ridiculous. He looked like Max Headroom. Do you remember Max Headroom?
Yeah.
He looked like he had that chiseled kind of weird... Anyway.
But he was interviewing people from the American...
from the National Rifle,
NRA,
and all the congressmen and everything like that were pro-gun.
Oh my God.
Most petrifying 10 minutes.
Until you watch it, if you haven't watched it. If you have watched it, you know what we mean.
Yeah.
That is when Sacha Baron Cohen is at his best.
Yes.
Because he plays a character, and because of that, he brings out people relax.
A little bit like Louis Theroux does in a very different way. In a very
and then
different
they
way.
reveal their true selves. Of course, it's up to you to believe whether their true selves is evil or bad. Depends what side of the fence you're on.
Yeah.
But I was sat there gobsmacked, and also I was laughing.
I was in hysterics.
I wasn't in hysterics because again,
I was in hysterics, but it was hysterics of fear as I saw one after the other statesman-like figure in America saying it's a good thing for toddlers to carry guns and use them.
And they do this whole song, don't they? Head with a gun. Head, shoulders, not on toes, not on toes. Head, shoulders, not on toes. To teach kids how to shoot.
Even a good toddler, they have no fear of guns.
Yeah.
Happy shooting, kids. I mean, this is.
They were asking for highly trained preschoolers.
Yeah. So, as a send-up of an American obsession with guns, I thought it was very, very effective.
And God help those guys that.
I know.
What about when he took jokes about rape in marriage?
No, I know. And then the guy says, "Well, hopefully this is going to be edited. This is going to be edited out." So
it is absolutely shocking. Make sure you watch that.
The true definition of giving them enough rope and letting them hang themselves. Very clever. Will you watch the next one?
I'll be really interested if you leave your comments below.
Yeah.
Whether who you agreed with on this, because I think people will be torn down the middle. I had to watch it like this.
Yeah, you were watching it like that.
And I was talking about finding it funny, not actually laughing.
Will you watch the next one?
Well, I have to because I'm going to review them.
Oh, are you? That's the only reason you're watching it.
Well, if there's more like the NRA one, I thought that was very clever. Yeah. I like it when he's clever rather than too crude.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Please subscribe and hit the notification bell, and then you can see all of our glorious content on this channel.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Heads, shoulders, not the toes.
Not on toes. Head, shoulders, not on toes. Not on toes.
Pull, what is it? Pull the string. Pull a string on a bad guy. Pull it in a fluffy toy. Pull a string on a bad guy.
Fluffy rabbits
with a gun in it.
String that you could pull and
Pulls
a gun shoot for kids, for babies.